Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
And these purple picks today, which we will make our official Vikings-Rams picks, presented in part by Underdog Decks. Before we get to the categories and what the Sharps are saying and make our picks, a shout out to Underdog.
It is wild card weekend on Underdog. You're probably seeing some nice little promos come in, some profit boost tokens, some free pick'ems even. Go to Underdog, have those notifications turned on for those current users and new users. This is the perfect time to jump in. Hell, you can draft a fantasy football team in the playoffs. You can do that. You'll just get a new team every single week. You can draft from the remaining playoff teams. New users, 50% sign-up bonus with promo code SCORE, S-K-O-R. Go sign up with Underdog. Get in on the fun. Keep sending me those screenshots. And shout out to Underdog for powering us here at Purple Daily.
All right, boys. We've done the regular season picks. It's been 2 years since we have picked a Vikings playoff game. So we will knock off the playoff picking rust here by going through some of the categories and the questions we ask before all of these episodes. So what are you most confident in? We'll start with Judd on behalf of the Vikings going into this game Monday night.
I am the most confident in the fact, and I'm actually going to go with a weird thing here, that this is going to feel like a home game for them, that they are going to have an, if not distinct, an advantage. I mean, the game has been moved, unfortunately, because of the wildfires from L.A. to the Cardinal Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. We've talked about the amount of snowbirds there. I think that there are going to be fans now who make the trip there. Tickets went on sale on Fridays, so there was like a general public sale. I think the Vikings are going to have an advantage. And most importantly, I think they are not going to have the perhaps hostility, or if you want to call it a disadvantage, they did on Sunday night in Detroit, where it was a majority of Lions fans. It was incredibly loud. I think you could say it was clearly intimidating in some ways. So I am most confident that this game is going to, if nothing else, at the very least, have a neutral site feel, probably a little bit less of a playoff feel than it ordinarily would have had. And in this case, I don't think that's a bad thing.
How close to a sell? That's not going to be a sellout, right? Neutral site.
No.
There'll be some random football fans.
Here's the question.
That trickle in.
What do tickets cost? Like, are they discounted because it's not?
I think we're recording this a little bit before the sale window, but
okay. That's my question.
But then, like, I don't know what they got to get people in the door, right? It's kind of, especially for, how does that work? Does that stadium get to just make a profit then off a game unexpectedly? Or because the Rams just get screwed out of a home game and gate and all that stuff? Or does the NFL send that gate over to, does the NFL pay a fee to the Cardinals to use the stadium and then the profit goes to the Rams? I don't know.
And there's a very good chance that the league simply just recompensates the Rams completely.
Yeah.
Because they certainly have the cash to. Yeah. But I do think that the Vikings are going to find that this is going to be preferable to feeling like you're in another just huge high pressure game.
Yeah, it is weird. The vibe is, the neutral site thing before the Super Bowl is sort of unprecedented in the NFL.
Yeah, there was a playoff game between the Boston Redskins and another team, 1937 moved from Fenway Park to the Polo Grounds, and that's the only other previous playoff game to be moved.
Because ticket sales were slow at Fenway. That's why they did it. So they moved it to, I guess, a bigger market.
And then Boston just moved to Washington. They're like, screw this.
Hilarious. Okay, Dex, what are you most confident in on behalf of the Vikings?
I am most confident that Darnold is going to bounce back with these deep shots. So I know he was missing passes high a lot, especially the Vikings had the goal to go situations. He was missing those short yardage, deep red situations. I think these Vikings receivers are going to feast and have a big day. And Darnold kind of learned from those mistakes. I was trying to find this nugget before this started. I believe the Rams are one of the most grabbiest teams that entice defensive pass interference, and the Vikings have done a really good job at gaining extra yards on those PIs, especially when you have guys like Jefferson and Addison Hawkinson running down the field. So I'm actually confident that the Vikings' deep attack can go after the Rams on Sunday, and Darnold will bounce back from a shaky performance against Detroit.
I was trying to see, there's penalty breakdowns here. You're saying the Rams defense is?
Yeah, I thought Seifert may have had a note, and I was combing through quickly trying to find it. But their defense, I thought, is like one of the more grabbier teams of defensive pass interference calls.
Yeah, they've only been called for 7 defensive pass interference calls all year, which is like 10th fewest in the league.
And the Vikings, though, they have drawn some of the most yards on PI calls though this season.
That for sure.
That one. Bingo.
That's the one.
I think that was the one I was looking for. I knew I had it a little mixed up, but I'm just confident these receivers bounce back and torch the Rams.
Well, you would think like for Darnold in terms of 5-yard line, 10-yard line, dude, he set your feet. I know there's going to be some pressure, but it's going to be the thing that he works on all week long, which is just give guys a chance to catch the ball.
Eyes and feet. We're working on the eyes and feet.
On the other side, with Matthew Stafford, so here's what I'm most confident in, that if you pressure Matthew Stafford, he is going to break down. Now, he is still very good at age 36, and when you give him time, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But this is crazy. When he's pressured, according to Pro Football Focus, he is dead last among 44 qualified quarterbacks in PFF grade. He has a 29 PFF grade out of 100 when he's pressured. He has a 50.8 passer rating when he's pressured.
Wow.
46% completions, only 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 13 turnover-worthy plays. So the problem is the Vikings only pressured him on like 23% of dropbacks in that last matchup on Thursday night. But Blake Cashman didn't play in that game, and he's one of your best loopers in Brian Flores' blitzing scheme.
Loopers.
That's right. One of your best twisting loopers.
Oh, man.
Is my button bar dead? Let's see.
Uh-oh.
There we go. We got it.
Bad if it's...
So, yeah, Darnold has largely been much better under pressure than previous seasons in his career.
Right.
The Lions flushed at him. But, yeah, if you can dial some stuff up against Stafford, and this is where I think rather than sitting back and maybe bluffing blitzes and letting him pick you apart, I would be willing to give up some bigger plays if it meant getting to him like 5 or 8 times and forcing an extra interception or 2 or a big sack to wreck I'm okay giving up some yards in this game, but the 13, he's good for like a turnover-worthy play every game. Yeah. Take advantage of it.
And he's old, so hit him. Hit him hard.
He's too old.
Hit him hard. That's what Detroit did.
Okay, Greg. Who's our guy? Greg Williams?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I do believe in the playoffs, it's a good idea to hit the quarterback, by the way.
Yeah, as the Vikings found out the hard way 15 years ago. What are you most nervous about on behalf of the Vikings?
Sam Darnold. I just don't know. Like, he's coming off a awful game. The stakes, while I do think the environment helps, like, I don't know if he got into his own head or what. So I'm with Dex. I think he bounces back. And I think O'Connell helps him. And certainly, coming off that terrible performance, the 3-pick performance in Jacksonville, he bounced back pretty damn well. But I don't know for sure. And so I would be kidding myself if I said, I think he's absolutely fine. So I am nervous about it while I think that he bounces back. After watching what we all saw on Sunday night, I can't say for sure. So until we see it, until he starts to complete passes, I think we talked about this last week as well. I would love to see him start with some short passes, perhaps some passes to Jefferson, just some screens, just some things to get into a rhythm. But to dismiss that, I think, would be foolish, too, to say I'm not concerned at all.
I would just say that the Jedi is still better than the Padawan. And what I mean by that is Sean McVay still has the upper hand against Kevin O'Connell.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I know 2 Star Wars vets over here. The Brent went running.
I have now seen 5 Star Wars movies, so I'm at least like I've graduated to that point in my life. But yeah.
5? Wow.
It was during the pandemic when there was no sports on, and we just. All right, I suppose we've already watched all the Netflix shows at this point. Should we watch some Star Wars movies? Phil, you want to watch a Star Wars movie?
Love that. Yeah, the thing I'm most nervous about is Sean McVay just has more answers than Kevin O'Connell does. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's one of the most respected coaches in the NFL. He probably saw some things that the Lions were able to do against the Vikings defense. I know the defense for the Vikings showed up for more than half of that game, but then eventually the score gets ran out in the fourth. But were there tendencies or things that the Vikings offense were doing that obviously McVay can kind of exploit as well? So I'm most concerned with the head coach of the Rams having maybe a couple more answers to the test than Kevin O'Connell does.
I'm going to expand the thing that Declan's nervous about into like a broader tale of the tape that I'm nervous about. While I do think the Vikings are the better team, and I understand why they're favored, if you look at some of the key components in the tail of the tape, there's a lot of check marks for the Rams in this one. Head coach, KOC, awesome. Sean McVay, check. Quarterback, Stafford's not quite what he was a couple years ago, but he can still sit back there, as the Vikings found out. And he can make crazy throws. He's seen it all. He's won a Super Bowl. I don't know anyone in their right mind that would take Sam Darnold over Matthew Stafford going into a playoff run, objectively, right? So now if you had the best version of each, okay, the best version of Darnold is really, really good, but I think it's check Stafford. The Rams have a better running game, check. Give me the Vikings defense, but the Rams defense has kind of come on a lot of single digits. Their schedule wasn't the toughest coming down the stretch, but it's like they're holding opponents to 9 points, 6 points.
Yep.
So that makes me the tail of the tape makes me a little nervous. And then there's a wild card here, no pun intended, wild card weekend. Rams, Los Angeles, tragedy, adversity, all of the things that have happened in LA with these fires and human beings that are coaches and players having a huge part of their lives and brains wrapped up in, like, is my house burning down and is my family okay? That could either be a big hindrance to doing your job and winning a game on Monday, or could it be a catalyst for a run for them where it kind of galvanizes them and, hey, all right, wow, we went through this whole thing together. Let's band together and make a run to the Super Bowl. I could see it going either way there, but I just want to throw that out there for a factor in this game.
I give that some thought. I think it's a distraction. I don't think it galvanizes you because, like, you've got to go to a different state to play the game. Yeah. Is your family coming with you? Like, it just feels like it's a distraction, and no one can blame anyone for that. But the fact is, like, playoff football is hard enough with no distractions. And I don't know that this one, like, as a team, it could galvanize them. But again, if you're concerned about your wife and kids, which would be, or your house, which certainly would not be on, these guys are at the end of the day humans, so it could certainly happen. I think it's harder. That's just my 2 cents. I could be totally wrong.
I feel like it would be really hard to just 100% be locked in if all of these logistical things, and but it is a factor. It is a wild card that we don't really
either
know.
Way. You're right.
Okay, I'm going to frame this as long term. Is anyone playing or coaching for their job in this game?
Sam Darnold is.
He's playing
in many ways.
$100 million maybe.
Well, yeah. Well, and I mean, if there's any chance he's going to return here, which I don't think he does, but let's just say there's a chance. He's playing for that, because if they lose and he does not play well, he's gone from here. To what you just said, just from Sam Darnold's own employment and the millions that he could potentially make, that could be dramatically impacted either way. If he plays great and then they win another game, he's going to make a ton somewhere, perhaps here. So yes, I think this game is, in some ways, this is not good because, like, it puts a ton of pressure on a player. But I think in some ways this game is just enormous in the career of Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darnold's in there. I would even say we saw it a little bit exposed throughout the year, but just interior offensive line. Like, it is now we've been banging our heads against the wall. Please, every offseason, go and address and fix your offensive line, your interior especially. Obviously, you have great pillar tackles. And to be honest, like, I would rather have it that way of you have the established tackles on the left and right side, right? Like, those are the two most important pieces. But, man, your infrastructure around it is crappy. You've been throwing lipstick on a pig for years on it. Is this maybe one of the final straws where they say, okay, we'll do it. We'll go overpay for a guard? I would just say I'd loop all three of those guys probably in there.
And I feel like that decision should be made, right? Like if Reisner has an awesome game or Bradbury, the body of work and the market should be dictating that. I agree, though. Like it's a huge factor. Aaron Jones,
Yeah,
because he's on a 1-year deal. What your lasting impression of kind of an aging running back? I think he'd love to be back. It sounds like he's been pretty productive. Not quite the 5 games he had down the stretch with the Packers last year,
right.
But that's one to watch. Okay, right now in terms of Super Bowl odds, the Vikings have a 5% chance to win the Super Bowl, according to the Athletics projections here, the math that they've done, the simulations. I'll give you the highest percent. The Chiefs have 23% chance to win it all. Lions 22%. Eagles and Bills 11%. Ravens 10%, and then there's a drop. And then it goes Vikings and Bucks with a 5% chance, Chargers 4%, all the way down to the Steelers and Broncos have less than a 1% chance to win the Super Bowl. What are the Sharps saying about this game? According to Action Network, so Matthew Stafford has already won 4 games outright as an underdog this season, his most since 2016 and the second most of his career. So he's been great as an underdog. Vikings are 2.5-point favorites as we record this right now. Stafford has won 2 straight games outright as a dog entering this matchup. The only other time in his career he's won 3 straight games outright as a dog in the same season was 2022. The Vikings are 14-3 straight up this season. They entered the season with 100-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. Since the 16-game schedule came into effect in 1978, and then the 17-game schedule, only one other team has won 13-plus games entering a season with 100-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. So can you guess? I'll just give you guys a minute to think. Can you guess, since 1978, which team, and they won the Super Bowl, by the way. This team won the Super Bowl. There was a 100-1 underdog to win it all preseason, won 13-plus games in the regular season, and then went on to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, 13. See, I don't remember who won 13
I was going to
games.
guess 2007 Giants, but
So was I. But I don't know what
so they won 13 games.
13-game regular season winners.
Was it Rams?
99 Rams.
Yeah.
Oh, 99 Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So this is the best like overachieving underdog story to this point since the 1999 Rams.
Good guess.
And then how about losing momentum at the end of the season? Over the last 20 years, 4 teams have had a 7-plus game win streak snapped right before the playoffs, just like the Vikings did on Sunday night. Those 4 teams went 4-0 straight up after their streak got snapped. So maybe it's a good sign that you got that loss out of the way against the Lions, huh?
I can see that. Yes.
All right. This is going to sway because we are recording this with still some time left to place wagers. But the Vikings right now, 2.5-point favorites. 48% of the bets are on the Vikings. 54% of the money is on the Vikings. So it's very coin flippy in terms of where the betting is going here. Before we make our official picks, a shout out to Minnesota Rusco, Minnesota's hometown remodeler since 1955. They offer a multitude of home improvement products and services. If you're in the market for a remodel, think windows, doors, siding, bathrooms, kitchens, decks, roofing. This is a great time to get in touch with Minnesota Rusco because they're having a big 70th birthday sale. And to celebrate, they're giving you 70% off all labor, no interest, no monthly payments until 2027. Cody and Casey at Minnesota Rusco have you covered, and a $70 gift card free with every appointment as well. So if you're looking to make your remodel a reality, turn to the experts at Minnesota Rusco. That's minnesotarusco.com, serving Minnesotans since 1955. And it's grimy season out on the roads too. You got your windshield wipers are rocking and rolling. You got cars in front of you that are spitting up dirt and mud and muck. That's where Splash windshield wiper fluid comes in to make sure you can see clearly and safely on the road during these winterish months. I'd say the next 3 months, it's definitely a problem for sure. Being able to see clearly while driving is critical. Be prepared with an extra bottle of Splash handy when you need it. That's right.
Apply a little splash when your windshield's getting dirty. Just apply a little splash.
Skull.
Splash, splash, splash.
On the season, regular season, straight up picking Vikings games, all of us were 13-4. Nice job, guys. Almost as good as the Vikings were themselves.
Nice.
Against the spread during the regular season, Declan 10-6-1, me 9-7-1, Judd 7-9-1. But we got an extra game here. We get to keep picking.
Struggled down the backstretch is what I did.
You can still, if they make a run and you're
down on myself.
So 2.5-point favorites, Vikings. Judd, who wins and by how many?
So this game was, I believe, when the game was going to be at SoFi, the Vikings had dropped to a 1-point favorite. I did not see them drop to a dog. Now, this could have happened with some lines. I don't know. I did not see them drop to a dog at all. But as soon as the game was moved to Glendale, they went up to 2.5-point favorites, which I liked. I predicted that. So I think the Vikings win this game and cover that spread.
All right.
I have the Vikings also winning and covering the spread.
Wow.
I thought about
Homers.
threading this a little bit. I think this is going to be close.
2.5
I'll take the 3.
That's a hard one to thread.
I'll take the 3. It worked for me for the Cardinals game. I think I did this, or it was like 3.5, and I think I threaded it or something. There was one, and I think Phil had one against the Bears, right? Like he did
tried
the
to
same
thread
thing.
one. I didn't make it. I was very upset.
Get the flag. I agree. I'm going to say I do think the factors in Los Angeles and moving this game to Glendale, huge deal. The Vikings are just sitting up here, they're prepping all week. I mean, the fact that you have to worry about your family and your house, and it's a lot. And also, there's a bounce back factor here. Judd's got his towel over his head for the audio audience. In the NFL, when everyone's bailing on Darnold, bailing on the Vikings, they're frauds. Look what happened in Detroit. Usually there's a regression back to the mean here. So I will take the Vikings are the better team. Give me the Vikings. Okay, Judd.
Hello?
What is that? Is that like a
dog
hand
toy?
warmer?
It's a fanny pack thing. It's a.
Oh, is
so
it?
They gave these away at
That's awesome.
I think the Packers game, and yes, you can.
Wait, you're
strap
telling
it
me
to your back
when
and be
you're
a quarterback.
when you're giving your hot takes, you could have those things nice and warm in your hands, ready to give the hot takes, and you haven't done that yet?
Look at that skull right
You
there.
got the Sam Darnold towel. You
This
got the
is
Sam Darnold hand warmers.
This is nice too. Look at this.
I
Look at
bet.
the fluffy
look at that.
inside. Look at the fluffiness of this.
Your hands could get awfully sweaty in that thing.
Well,
Dare I say?
We'll see. I mean, I don't want to think about that, but thank you. There you go.
All right, let us know in the YouTube comment section who wins by how many. And then don't forget, well, 2 things on Monday, 9 a.m. Central Time. We're going to jump on live as we always do and recap the weekend around the NFL. And then Vikings Vent Line right after Vikings Rams. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. And we just want Judd's hands to stay warm.
Toasty.